reviewers, we will be reviewing Scarface, starring Al Pacino. The film came out in 1983, and it follows a Cuban refugee named Antonio Montana. We all know him by Tony. Tony and his friend Manny, when they arrive in the United States, start in small-time jobs. Soon, they are hired by Omar Suarez to pay money to a group of Colombians. When the deal goes wrong, Tony and Manny leave with the money and succeed in their job. Soon, Tony meets with drug kingpin Frank Lopez and falls for his boss's girl, played by Michelle Pfeiffer. We all know my craze with Michelle Pfeiffer. Anyway, pretty soon Tony will know that those who want it all do not last forever, and that is the price of power. So, Sephi, what do you think of Scarface?
You know, it was a pretty darn good movie. I was so surprised. First, when I thought of Scarface, I'm like, oh, it's just one of those another sex and gore movies. Nope. Really, it was like, wow.
And another thing that was great about Scarface, it had character. You actually felt for the main antagonist. Well, I should say protagonist. But come on, it's Scarface. I mean, he was pretty much like the anti-hero here. Yes, he killed people. He was a gangster. He did sniff cocaine. Yeah. But think about it this way. I mean, there are certain parts in the film where you actually see a human side to Tony, such as the scene where...
Yeah, what happens is he's in the car, and there's a guy leaving the... because their mission was to kill this guy. So he thought it was just this guy. I was like, okay. All of a sudden, he sees a wife, and he also sees 2 kids. He becomes human on that side, because he's like, what? No, I just can't do it. I cannot kill 2 kids and a wife. And while they were chasing the car, he was cursing the guy, and I'm like, fuck man, fuck you. No, I can't do this man, I can't do it. And then all of a sudden, it was just saw, bam.
Shoots the guy. He will not kill the wife and kids. And that shows some of the human side to Tony. I mean, throughout the film, he is such a badass. No one gets in his way. If you're in his way, that's it. You're done. You're But you actually see a human side to him. And that's what I like about this film. It's because it's not stereotypical. It's not like good and evil. There is a middle. There's a gray to a black and white.
As I like to explain, we are not completely black or we're not completely white. We are in the middle. You could be a little light gray, as in you could be a little optimistic, but you're still going to have some side of black, but not too much of it. You could be a dark shade of gray, but you still show some light. Exactly,
and Scarface not only doesn't have some of these views, but other stuff, such as it does show you what happens when you get involved in this kind of business. Some people, a lot of kids these days, a lot of audiences think that it's all glory, that everything goes your way if you follow this path.
Nope.
It doesn't. No, you rise, and temporarily, things go your way. You have the money. You have the girls.
You have everything.
Everything.
Until the point in which you screw up or something like that, and then you're invaded and you're done.
Your past comes back to haunt you. And this sadly happens to Tony Montana. He doesn't even have time to redeem himself. The end is inevitable. It comes and it's swift. The film is violent. I mean, it is rated R, so if your kids are around, I suggest you get them out of there because, well, it wasn't entirely made for kids. I mean, not only is the language, excessive, the violence, the nudity, sex, it's pretty much the story of a gangster who's risen to the top and will eventually fall. So it's definitely not recommended for children, but if you're at least the mature age, or if you've been raised in an environment where your parents have explained what's right and what's wrong, and you're at least 15, 16, and maybe older, then it's definitely a must. I give the film thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Say hello to my little friend!